What's happening? This is the Tap In podcast. We are live in the Tap In studio. I got a special guest with me. My audience, y'all probably don't know his face, but y'all know his voice. Y'all know his voice. Glen, what's up, man? What's going on?
Not much, Donte. How you?
Good. How you been, man?
Doing well.
Good. So, I wanted to bring you on just to show everybody that I do have white friends. You know what I mean?
I appreciate it. It helps me in that aspect as well.
You're one of my white friends that I do when I have issues or somebody that I want to talk to about a certain issue. I go to you.
Quantify your point of view, right?
What do you mean?
Like when you're talking to your other white people, like, no, I have a white friend that said this.
Yeah, absolutely. So I got white friends. You know what I mean? Let me ask you. I mean, I know last time we talked, it was a lot about the political race and where it was at, and this whole Trump thing. Where are you at now with it? Are you still on the Republican side, or have you been found? Can you go, Glen and Christian? Have you been delivered?
Actually, I've got some concrete at home and some metal poles and some plywood. I'm gonna make a big Trump sign in my front yard. Trump 2020. That way nobody can jump up and steal the sign.
What do you mean? What do you mean, Glen? What do you mean?
No, I'm just joking. No, it's just people always get their signs stolen out of your yard when you have political yard signs.
Trump sign on there?
Yeah, a lot.
Let me ask you this. This is what I really want to know. What is it about Trump that you like, or that you like agree with? Or is it just because he's a Republican?
No, it's nothing. I mean, like I said, I've said a lot of times, I think that he's over. I mean, he takes it way over the top as far as his Twitter tirades, and he does give people a lot of fuel for the fire. You know, I mean, he brings a lot of it on himself. Now, some of it, they just hate him. I mean, sometimes it makes me cringe. Sometimes I think it's funny as hell because, it's just,
it is entertaining.
Yeah, it is.
It's entertaining.
But I like that he wants to secure the border. I like that taxes are not high. I like that the economy's humming along. Stuff like that. I like, the freedom of religion. I mean, a lot of stuff that he's doing. So I mean, he's not as polished of a president as we've ever seen. But I like his policy.
So why do Republicans follow his doing? Why do they follow that if they know that he's not as polished? He's not a typical politician. Why do they follow the Republican side? Why are they just because that's just who they rep, or what is it?
No, it's because it's because of the principles and the issues that they I don't know what you could say. I mean that they're aligned with. I mean it's their values and things. I mean as far as like the economy and stuff like that. That's why they do that. As far as the economy, your individual liberty, right to bear arms, especially, is a big one. I mean, the biggest salesperson for firearms in the last 10, 12 years has been Barack Obama.
What do you mean?
Because every time there's someone that leans left and they talk about gun control, like when there's a shooting or something like that and people start talking about, gun control, gun sales go through the roof. So that's what I mean by he's the biggest gun salesman.
Oh, because he talks against it and then makes everybody else.
It makes them nervous, makes them want to make sure that if I don't have, my second or third AR or their first whatever, then they go out and grab one and buy one because they're afraid that they may not be available, when it comes time where they are ready.
Oh, okay. But I wouldn't. I mean, I guess since I moved to Texas, like I'm for having guns. You know what I mean? I'm for having guns. Like
everybody should have a gun, especially as for the African American community. I think that in the African American community, I think everybody should have one. I think the head of the household should all have one to protect themselves.
Absolutely, I agree with you more because it is a lot of crazy white dudes out here that are going around shooting people.
You're right, downtown, in Chicago and the project stuff. That's who they worried about for sure.
Most people are not. Here's the thing about black people: we will probably kill somebody black before we kill anybody white.
Any murder, it's rare.
It's about vicinity.
Homicide, it's rare that homicide is interracial. It's always, I mean, that's why the cops, you know, if one of my family members comes up dead, you know, my wife, something happens to her, the first place they're going to come look and say, hey, you know, Glenn, where were you? They're going to ask me, because it's always, I mean, I watch enough of Investigation Discovery to know what's going on.
Investigation Discovery.
Yeah.
But you know how to get away with it too then.
No, I don't think you'd ever have to worry about that.
Why?
I don't ever plan on shooting anybody.
Oh, okay, good. So why do you need all those guns?
Just in case.
Just in case. So let me ask you this. When T.I. had all those guns, they still found, well, that was because he had some other charges, right? But him as a American citizen, you didn't find any fault in that with him having those guns, right?
As long as he's legal to have guns, no. I mean, I'm not familiar with the case with T.I. with the guns, but I mean, if you're legally allowed to have one, I don't care who you are, you should have a gun. Like I said, especially in that black community, I mean, every head of household should have a gun. Because I mean, if there's a lot of crime, if you're in an area where there's a lot of crime, you know, if you're, you know, and there's certain areas like we just talked about Chicago, if you don't have a gun, you know, you're a sitting duck. All these people walking into stores and shooting up the place, if a bunch of people in there had a gun, I mean, the church here in Fort Worth, the guy walks in with a shotgun, he shoots one guy. One person actually drew his pistol and was aiming at him, but couldn't get it out of the holster and had it like this and got shot in the chest. And another guy who was trained, I think he taught class or something, I'm not sure. He was a marksman for sure. He shot the guy from about 50 feet away in the head, single shot, boom, dropped him.
I thought it was the guy, it was because it was like two guys.
No, in the church of Fort Worth,
yeah.
One guy walked in. He was crazy.
Yeah, I know, because it was like one guy that was in front of him. That's the first one.
Well,
he shot him.
He shot one guy sitting in the pew. And then as soon as he shot one of the guys, because he walks down the side aisle up against the wall, shoots a guy sitting
that
over
was
here.
directly in back, right?
Well, not directly in back, like halfway up.
Yeah.
And then the guy back behind him stands up and starts to draw, and he turns around and shoots him in the chest.
Oh,
and then another guy over here, even further away, popped him. Single shot.
See, I thought it was a guy, because it was two guys like in the back that you could tell that they worked there. That first guy who was, as soon as you walk up the back aisle, he was the one that got shot in the chest that you were talking about. Then I thought it was another guy like right next to him. Once he shot him, then he shot. And I was, and for that reason, you should. So why do they need those signs? Why did they, those
signs?
The signs where it says you can't
carry?
Yeah.
Because I'll tell you why. Because there are a certain group of people, and they're not on the right side of the aisle, they're on the left, that put these signs up. It's a no carry gun free zone. I talked to you about this before. The crazy guy in Colorado that shot up the theater at the Batman movie.
Yeah.
They asked him, why did you go to this theater and not this one? Like, oh, it's because this theater had a
no gun sign.
No, well, the theater he went to had a gun-free zone sign. The other one allowed you to conceal carry, so they knew that he goes in there and starts shooting somebody to get him.
Somebody might.
When I go to the movie theater, I always sit in the back. When I go to a restaurant, I always sit with my back, to the wall, facing the door. I don't ever.
That's like interesting. That. I didn't know that was the reason. I didn't know that was the reason why he went to that theater.
Well, I mean, that's what
he said?
Well, that's what I read, and that's what supposedly the interview said. But, there's a lot of fake news going on, so you never know.
Yeah.
I mean, it's hard to tell what's real and what's not anymore.
So let me ask you this. What made you start becoming a Republican?
Well, it's just my upbringing, really. I mean, just the values. I mean, my dad's a preacher, so, you got to think a very religious upbringing is going to be, usually leans more to the right. Okay.
And Christian's here. Come on in, Christian. Yeah, just swap seats. Cause me and Christian had you use those headphones. Those right there. Yeah. Cause me and Christian had a conversation last week about the whole Democratic and Republican Party, about certain different issues. So I had to bring them back. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just because I really want to get both sides of, you know what I mean, what's going on or how you feel about it. So yeah, go ahead. Let me get you something. Here, man. Take a small what's this called? A chronic break. You know what I mean?
don't know if it's chronic.
What you want?
They got some other stuff too.
Come on, we still rolling, but let's go. What you want?
All right. Oh, that's perfect.
That's her?
Yeah.
Hold on, let me get some ice.
All right.
So yeah, I wanted to bring Christian in just so we can have, you know, the different points, the different sides, and just have you know, this a good conversation about, because my question that I asked my question that I asked last time was why are Democrats, or why are black people so loyal to the Democratic Party? Like, I really want to know really why they're so loyal to it, and then I want to ask you, why are you so loyal to the Republican side?
I wouldn't really say that I'm loyal to the Republican side. I'm more conservative. I mean, a lot of people, the Democrats now, or rather the Republicans now, are a lot of them, they've kind of separated. You know, you've got what the establishment is, which is all the politicians and things that are there right now that are fighting Trump. They hate him. There's a lot of Republicans that absolutely hate him.
So why won't they speak out against him then?
Because he's the president, and he's still he's a Republican president. He's conservative, so they still are more aligned with him, even though they don't like him. I think it's more of just I don't like his attitude and his demeanor, his decorum or lack of, compared to what the alternative is on the left.
But if you don't like, what is it not? I mean, of course, his attitude or, you know, his bravado, whatever they don't like. But what policies are you putting in place that is actually helping the Republicans where they won't speak out against him?
Well, I mean, it's just the economy's going well. I mean, he's very pro business, and that helps the economy, because when people are afraid, like, for instance, I know you're a Bernie Sanders person.
I'm not a Bernie Sanders person. Okay. I believe in Killer Mike. That's what it is.
Okay.
I believe in Killer Mike, and I trust Killer Mike more than Bernie Sanders. Okay. So,
all right. Well, I'll put it this way: is if you have a candidate who says I am a democratic socialist. Okay. I saw a picture one time, and it shows a picture of Bernie Sanders, and he's pointing to a pile of shit. And it says socialism, and then he says, look, and then it says democratic socialism. It's just a pile of shit with sprinkles on it. It's the same thing. You just put sprinkles on it. It's the same thing. The problem is with the economy, if businesses and corporations know that they're going to get taxed outrageously and have all these restrictions put on them, then they don't invest and they don't create more jobs. They don't grow. I mean, it stifles productivity, and that's why. You got a guy that's a businessman. He's all about, helping corporations, helping businesses, and they grow, and that's why the economy is humming along so well.
But my question is, and I asked this to you earlier, how long does it take for us, can a president, or I think I asked Mike this, how long does it take for us to see the impact of a sitting president?
It depends.
Because it's like, we don't know if this just is a byproduct of something that Barack did, or is this something that, because the actual stock market is taking the tank right now as we speak
because of the virus stuff. Yeah, I know.
Yeah, so it's like, how strong is the economy with him in office?
Well,
I think there's a whole lot of picking and choosing what he wants to take credit for.
Exactly.
Because if we're being serious about it, the unemployment rate has been dropping consistently since Obama took office. So, and if you really look at that graph for the projection of how things would drop, Trump's time in office is just right in line with what it was projected to be anyways. I don't really think it's much of what Trump is actually doing is dropping it. I think it's a statistic that they can look up and say, hey, here's something that's good that we can use to further campaign and say why you've been effective. There's what if his policies are specific fiscal policies that have been beneficial for lowering the unemployment rate, and then even unemployment rate.
He doesn't have any.
People play these statistic games, right?
He doesn't have any.
They play these games where it's like, okay, the unemployment rate's really low. Does that actually mean that upward mobility is high? Does that actually mean that poverty is low? Because you can have, hey, everybody can be unemployed if we all make $1 an hour.
Exactly.
Everybody wouldn't mind hiring an extra person if they're making $1 an hour.
Yeah,
And I think one of the reasons why at least with like millennials, why Bernie is so popular is you got to consider the fact that we're at a time where we're the most educated group by numbers, right? And our degrees mean far less, and our degrees were far more expensive to acquire as compared to our parents or our grandparents. So we're spending more, you know what I'm saying? We're spending more to get a degree that's going to get us less, and there are going to be less jobs available, and the jobs that are available are going to actually pay us less than what we're going to be able to get with that money is less. So I think when you consider that, like, who cares if the employment is high? How are people actually living? What's the quality of life? And I think that's a better question. I don't think Trump's really increased the quality of life in this country.
He hasn't. I really don't know what he's done. And nobody can tell me exactly, okay, this is what he done, this is the impact, these are the results. There's nobody who can say, oh yeah, this is what he did.
I watched a pretty sweet video the other day of the wall, though. The really big wall that was going to be impenetrable and all this, and it was some teenagers climbing over it. It was pretty hilarious.
I seen that too.
Because it took them,
seconds.
Yeah.
They climbed up the wall, and then somebody said something, and then they climbed right back down and ran.
Yeah, they saw Border Patrol.
Yes, he was like, "What? Why are we spending all this money? Why is he spending all this money on this wall? What it is about this wall that he's so infatuated with?"
I don't know.
It's the voter base.
Voter base, yeah. That's kind of like on the left. The voter base, like I said, hey, if the Democrats thought that those people crossing the border and their children would one day vote for Republicans, that wall would be 100 feet tall, and it would be all the way. It would be probably out about 3 or 4 miles out into the Pacific Ocean on the coast of California.
I don't think Democrats are as anti-Republican as Republicans are Democrats.
Yeah,
I think Democrats have the stuff they focus on, and that's that. I don't think they be building a wall. It's a waste of money.
It's a waste of time.
Let me ask you this: what is the solution then for illegal immigration? What do we do?
It's not the number one concern in this country. That's the trick. It
doesn't matter if it's the number one concern. But
what do you mean?
What do we do? I mean, if immigration isn't, I'm not saying it's the number one or number two concern, but what is the solution then to keep illegal immigration in check?
I think asking what the solution is puts us in a situation where we have to answer that question now. I think there's always problems. We could argue about how to make the soil richer in Kansas. It's a problem because Kansas can't produce as many apples as California. That's a problem. Is it the number one problem in the country? It's not. We can make any issue, and we can go to Kansas right now. Californians have the best soil. What do we need to do to get you guys soil and get you into the farming game? You can make anything an issue. It doesn't mean that it's the number. When I was walking around prior to Trump running for president, I didn't have a lot of people going, God damn, bro, you know what's killing me? These Mexicans,
immigrants,
oh Jesus, that's not those are not relevant issues for people's day to day. Let me tell you what it is. It's about voter base. You can always decide. You can always see who is important by who comes out to vote abnormally, right? So, for example, during for Barack Obama, you saw young people come out and vote at levels that was not seen before, right?
Yeah.
You also saw an uptake in blacks voting, right?
Yep.
Now, for Trump, you saw an uptake in poor whites voting. And the thing about poor people in general is they tend to have a victim mentality. They tend to have a somebody has to be the problem for where I am, mentality. And I think Mexicans make a very easy scapegoat. They're one of the fastest growing minorities in the country, right? So I mean, it's no different than when we had Black Wall Street. They were trying to figure out how the hell do we get these black people out of here.
Burn this shit down.
Yeah, so it's a very similar situation. There are anxieties that are coming today as a result of changing structures of this country, and there's always going to be a scapegoat. At one point, it was the Italians or the Irish people. That's part of coming to this country and growing in it, is that you're going to have a period of kickback for being here and getting established. And right now, unfortunately, it's the Latinos, and that you can make a poor white person feel better by saying that's the reason why you are where you are, and you can target their sensibilities and get their votes by building a wall. And that is what it was. This is something I know will get you to come out and vote. And none of these Republicans have too much class to deal with your particular issues, but I will make your issues a big issue, and then I'll get your support. But it's not a big issue in the bigger scheme of things.
Because
it's really
you want me to tell you who illegal immigration affects most? Is the African American community.
Why?
Please tell me.
Yeah, please tell me how.
I'll tell you why.
Yeah, please.
Because those jobs that are coming in here, like they'll go into
what
areas
jobs though?
No, I'm talking about when they come in and they fill these jobs.
What jobs?
The jobs, whatever jobs that they take.
I'm saying I don't.
What jobs do they take?
I know
they be lawyers and doctors and everything.
I know because
no. Well, what I'm saying is the people that are coming across the border, all of these jobs that they're filling, could be filled by other people here in the United States.
Right, but everybody says that, right? I've heard that before, but I'm like, okay, so what jobs do we want that the Mexicans are taking or illegal immigrants are taking? What jobs do we want? Landscaping jobs? Do we want like I don't know. For me, I always see Hispanics like hardworking people, like they go in to hustle.
Yeah.
So those jobs that they're taking is not where black people like, man, I wanted to do that. I wanted to go sell those fucking oranges on that corner.
Who filled those jobs before we had a massive influx of illegal immigration? It was white people and black people both.
Poor. Wait. Working class. White people and black people, and working class white people have not had a lot of representation. So once again, this is a working class white person issue. It is not. It is not a middle class issue by and large, and it is not an issue for every race in the country.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
I'm saying that he's touching on a good point, but it's not black people.
So let me ask you this. So you think Bush is doing black people a favor by getting illegal immigrants out of the way? Because those jobs Trump. You think Trump is doing black people a favor?
He's doing the whole country a favor.
How? White people? These are not jobs that white people want.
Let me ask you this. Let me ask you a question.
Go ahead.
Is it illegal to come to the country without permission?
Yes, it's illegal.
Okay. I mean, but everybody thinks to seem that's okay.
I don't think legality. I don't think current legality is a good argument because legality moves and it changes and it ebbs and it flows.
Well, let me ask you this:
it's based off laws and policies.
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
No,
it's not
that's
ridiculous.
Absolutely ridiculous.
You could have made an argument. You could have made an argument just some 40, 50, 60 years ago. Is it not illegal for this black person to drink from this water fountain? And you would have been good.
And you'd be like, yes.
And thank you, Democrats, for those Jim Crow laws, by the way. Absolutely, that's where they came from. But no, what I'm saying is it is illegal to come in to the country and break in the country illegally, right?
It is.
Okay. But everybody seems to overlook that. And they're like, oh, well, why don't we should just let everybody in. I tell you what, just open the floodgates and see what happens.
That's not what I'm saying. I'm not saying let everybody in. I'm saying, yes, there needs to be rules and laws and, in order for people to come over here. I'm saying it needs to just be a little bit more lenient. It needs to be a little bit more lenient. If you have your paperwork in order, you haven't been convicted of any crime over in whatever country you're coming from, then you just want to make a better way for your family. Yeah, come on in. This is the American way. This is why America is the way it is.
But that's not what's happening, Donte. They're coming here seeking asylum. Okay, once they figured out that you could come and say, I'm seeking asylum for political persecution or whatever, the political asylum cases have skyrocketed 200 to 300%. And here's what happens. I'll tell you what happens. They come over here, they're seeking asylum, and then they get a court case for maybe a year or two later, or even further. And then what happens? They never show up. They just stay.
Okay.
So you're saying, oh, yeah, we should just let them in. This is not a poor white people issue, okay? This is a country issue. What you're trying to make it out to be is like, oh, yeah, this is just something you gotta make somebody pissed off at somebody and make them feel like a victim and point. I mean, it's like Hitler saying, hey, the Jews are all the source of all our problems.
That's exactly what it's like.
No. What I'm saying is
it's ridiculous.
The asylum people are not the people that actually climbing the wall and come over here. Those people, the people who actually go to court, get a court date, those are not the people that the wall is going to stop from getting over here. I'm saying that wall is to stop people who illegally are trying to get over here.
You mean to say something? When you have a wall,
what did they do? What did they do before Trump?
Huh?
What did they do before Trump?
What do you mean? What did they
do illegal immigrants? What did they do before Trump? How did they get over here before Trump?
They did the same thing. They crossed the border.
Okay, so you think the wall is going to stop them?
It's going to slow it down. Let me tell you what happens. What they do is they can
put that money into
what?
into hiring more officers on the borders.
You know, whatever the
That'll
solution
boost
is.
the economy.
Yeah, it would. But I'm telling you, whatever the case is, I mean, he's asking for what, $25 billion? Do you know how often they spend? Yeah. Oh, okay. It's a lot of money, but yet they'll spend $1 billion on a website for the Affordable Care Act that doesn't work. The website shut down. I mean, they spend money, tons of money on everything, but they don't want to do this. And the reason that the Democrats don't want to do it is not because they give a shit about anybody crossing that border. It's because it's all about optics. Just like what Christian's saying. Oh, the Republicans just have to have an enemy here, and that's what Trump is doing. Is he's demonizing the people that are crossing the border. Okay, let me tell you. I can tell you a story. People come here, and they have children. Anchor babies, right? Mm-hmm. And then they'll go get SNAP and WIC and every other type of welfare for their kids. And everyone's like, oh, well, illegals can't get benefits and help from the government. Yeah, they can. They do it through their kids. They have 3 or 4 kids, and then they go get these social services. And the amount that because I know people who do this, mm-hmm. okay? They work, and then they complain, man, they took like $50 out of my check. Mm-hmm. Man, that's just amazing. Golly, that's a lot. But this same person is getting $450 a month in food stamps for his kids. You're in the negative right there just on that stuff.
So here's my issue, right? When it comes to like food stamps and it comes to government assistance, everybody always saying, "Oh yeah, they need to get up and work. They need to do this, and they need to just stop taking advantage of the system." But nobody has a problem with those mob guys, the Italian guys. They were selling drugs, they were stealing gas, they were doing all this, and they were able to legalize their money in casinos into different.
Who doesn't have a problem with that?
I'm saying, why is that not a big issue?
My question is,
why is that not a big issue? Those mob people, like some of them have been, I guess, kind of rectified or been all set in prison, but now they've been able to legalize their money based off of something they did illegal. Why is that not a big issue? Why is everybody pointing their finger at the people who are on welfare, who get food stamps, the lower people that are impoverished, that they need a hand up, they need a leg up, they need help?
Look, I don't have a problem with giving people a hand up and help. I mean, I don't have a problem with that at all.
Okay.
But when you come here and you abuse the system, I mean, whether you're from here in the United States or overseas, when you abuse the system, because we've talked about this before, you know people who abuse the system.
I've abused it before.
Exactly. I mean, I wasn't going to say it. I wasn't going to say that. I wasn't going to say it.
Listen, I needed a little bump. You know what I mean? I needed a little
the system, so you need a little bump.
No. Okay. I'm saying I was in between jobs. You know what I mean? I was trying to just survive. So I needed to take advantage of.
Thank you.
I needed to take advantage of the system.
Some more.
I needed to take advantage of the system. You know what I mean? Just to get me by, just to get me through.
You know
what I mean?
Like
but it's not.
I have a question though, just as we're talking about all the like welfare and everything like this. So let's put things in perspective, right? By and large, whites make up the majority of this country.
Yes.
They also make up the vast majority of welfare users, WIC, right? All of these things. So I would imagine that if they make up the majority of users, they also probably make up the majority of abusers. Why do we need to build a wall to focus on knocking out welfare fraud and lowering the cost of who's getting welfare? Why do we focus on the smallest portion of that and not the largest? Once again, because it is a poor white issue. Because you would literally, if you really wanted to make it about, hey, we got too many people on welfare and we got too many people taking advantage of the system. By and large, I would attack the biggest group doing it. But then that's your voter base. Come on, bro, it's politics.
And the people.
Let me explain something to you. These are people who are United States citizens. Black Americans and white Americans are citizens who have a right
to abuse the system.
Not to abuse the system. Not to abuse the system.
Okay.
People who are abusing the system. I've never said, you're looking at me like, oh, you think it's okay to abuse the system? I never said that.
I was trying to catch you.
No, yeah, you were, but you're not going to. People who abuse the system, I don't care if you're white, black, green, yellow, pink, purple, should not be allowed to abuse the system, period. And if you come here from overseas or wherever you're coming from, and then you abuse the system, no, you shouldn't be allowed to do that.
So what okay.
What costs more?
Let's quantify.
What costs more?
What costs more? The 70% of people here and what the losses are on them abusing it, or the 15 to 20% of people coming here and they're abusers? Which one costs more? Because to me, that's where you find the priority in which one is causing you to hemorrhage faster, right? So if I have a shotgun wound on one side, I got a little pencil cut on the other, what do I want to get plugged up faster? And I think that's a question. That's why I keep saying, once again, this was a voter-based priority. This was not any type of fiscal or financial priority, because if you really wanted to knock it out and solve the problem that way, you wouldn't have had to target such a small portion of the country in terms of who's receiving welfare.
You know, you mean to tell me what the percentage of white people are that actually get benefits, Social Security or social benefits and stuff?
I don't want to know what percentage of white people receive it. I want to know, out of the people who receive it, what percentage is white. That's two different stats. Do you get what I'm saying?
The percentage of them that receive it is like 12 or 14%.
Of white people that receive it. I don't want to know what percentage of white people receive help. I want to know, out of all the people that receive help, how many of them are white, because that number is the majority.
No. Well, whatever. Take the look at the census. Figure out how many white people there are in the country by the Census Bureau.
But they don't.
And then look at 12% of that.
But all of them don't get help. All of them don't receive food stamps. And all
what
that.
I'm saying is,
but
if you have 200 million white people in the country and 12% of them are on welfare, then that's what I'm saying.
But when you look at just welfare,
I'm talking
welfare. When you just pull out just the welfare stats, though, that 12% might actually, the people who are on welfare might actually be 70% that
of
are
all
white.
of the users who use welfare. That
may be 70% when you just do the welfare.
It is. It's higher on the white side of the aisle, because there's a lot more white people in the country.
Exactly. So that's why I go back to saying, if we really wanted to look at welfare and where there's loss in welfare and where there's waste, or where we're hemorrhaging money in welfare, I would imagine that if whites make up the majority of welfare users, they probably also make up the majority of welfare abusers. It's a simple mathematical.
Yeah,
it's
No, I know
so,
what you're saying.
So if that was your real focus, if that was your real focus, hey man, this is costing us so much money because these illegals are coming here, they're getting this welfare, they're getting this and that and the other. If finding waste in welfare and lowering waste in welfare was your goal, why build a wall? See what I'm saying? They don't correlate. They don't correlate.
Look,
one is very racially focused, man.
It's not just about welfare, Christian.
What else is it about?
It's also about people that are coming here that are committing crimes as well. You have people that come over here that drive drunk, commit crimes, kill people, stuff like that. And there's no way to really vet them because you don't know who they are.
They got Americans that do all that too. They got people who are citizens.
But does that make it right to import more people to do that? No,
it doesn't make it right. But if somebody is trying to escape from being impoverished, what's wrong with letting them be over here?
If they're trying to escape being impoverished?
Yeah, impoverished, or they're escaping asylum.
Because they have a much higher rate of being dependent on the system and getting social services.
So
I mean, you can't just open your gates to the entire world and say, "Hey, everybody who has a problem,
but if they're
come on over."
But if they're illegal, how are they going to get those benefits? How are they going to abuse the system?
I told you how they're going to abuse the system. Yeah, through their kids. And there's other ways to do it as well.
So if the kid has to be a certain age for you to be able to receive benefits, right?
I don't know. I've never been on it. Never had my kids on it. Tell me about it, Donte.
Okay. I'm just saying, once you can't be a 13-year-old or a 10-year-old and get welfare. You can't. You can't get any benefits.
You can get food stamps.
How would you get food stamps? And you're 12, 14 years old?
What I'm saying is the parents. I've seen it happen.
Okay, so how do you? So maybe that needs. So maybe that needs to be the new policy. You have to be a certain age and have worked a certain amount of years in order for you to qualify to get food stamps or get welfare or get anything like that. So that way.
Good luck getting that passed.
So why not though? Why would a teenager?
I'm not talking about teenagers asking
for
it. Or
a kid.
I'm not talking about teenagers asking for it. They're not the ones asking. It's the parents going to get it.
Right, but I'm saying the parents, if they're illegals. Yeah. They don't have proper documentation to even be in the country. So how would they even get government assistance if they don't have it?
I don't know.
And
but
then
I know people who do.
Okay, so maybe that needs to be the policy. If the parents if you don't have legal documentation, I don't even know why that's need to be policy. That should just be common sense.
Hey, Donte,
if you don't have
I tell
legal
you what,
documentation,
I nominate you to go head up that movement, and you will be called every name in the book by your party. I promise you, because you will be a racist. You will be an Uncle
How would I be a
Tom.
racist?
Trust me. If you go start talking about taking people off welfare because they're illegal, yeah. You'll be you'll be a target for sure.
I don't even see. I just don't understand why would that? How would I be a racist? Isn't that the law? Like you have to be
crossing the border illegally is the law as well. But we already debunked that doesn't matter.
Right, but if you get over here, you can make it over here. Yeah, come on over. Right, if you can get over here, but you're not going to be able to benefit off of our laws. You're not or our rights. You're not going to be a benefit off our rights.
You're basically not going to be able to welch off of the system. Is what you're saying,
right?
Yeah.
So you come over here, by your own risk and hustle and get on.
Yeah, I agree with you.
That.
I agree with you. But what I'm telling you, like Christian and I were talking about the other day, we were talking about a subject. He says the practicality of it. It's not practical. It won't happen. Trust me. The politicians that pander to these groups and these people will be, oh hell no, there's no way in hell you're going to take this away from our voting.
I heard that the Republicans pander more to illegal, to not illegal immigrants, but to immigrants. I seen a video that soon as the immigrant, soon as they came out of the I don't know what the office is, but when they got their rights or when they just became citizens, they were met on the curb with voter registrations. Yes, as soon as they became legal citizens, they were met right on the curb with pamphlets to voter registration. Hey, go ahead and sign up to be a Republican.
I've never seen or heard that, but
you never heard that?
No, I've never heard that.
I guarantee you,
it's some
you
sort
go
of
to
political
YouTube.
Action committee.
No, you go to YouTube, you will be able to see it. It's where soon as illegal immigrants get their citizenship, Republicans are out there with pamphlets.
There's no such thing as an illegal immigrant getting their citizenship.
Okay,
here's the process.
When they were illegal, they went through the process.
They were just immigrants at that point.
Yeah, they're immigrants
at that point. They have a green card, and then
they get their citizenships. I don't know what the time is.
It's 5 years.
Okay.
My wife did it. It's 5 years. She got her green card, and then she goes.
Oh, so your wife was a legal immigrant?
No, she got her green card.
Okay.
And she came here, green card, and then citizenship. And that's the way it works. You get your green card.
Okay.
You come here on a visa. You get a green card. It allows you to stay and work. And then after you've been here for 5 years, you're allowed to apply and take the citizenship test.
But how do you get your green card?
You have to go and apply for it. I mean, we went to it. Like they had They had a program here in Dallas called the Dallas Office Rapid Adjustment. It was a pilot program.
Okay.
It's DORA, Dallas Office Rapid Adjustment. So it's called the DORA program.
Okay. Like Dora Explorer.
Exactly, that's what it is. I'm serious. That's what it was called.
Okay.
And so you go get your green card, and then, but I mean that's no different than the Democrats going door to door and registering people to vote, and going and getting a bus and going to pick people up and taking them to vote. Democrats do the same thing. They go and they solicit people to
go out and vote.
No, yes, not just to go out and vote, but but that's not really an issue. But the main issue is they go out and they go door to door and they solicit, like, hey, we're registering people to vote. Same thing. So, I mean, they're always both sides do that.
Okay. Back to my plan. Black people need to register as independent.
I agree with you there.
And do their own thing.
I agree.
Let me not just say black and white, because I don't want to make it a black and white issue.
Sure you don't.
I think poor people under a certain tax bracket need to all be independent. They need to we need white people who make under a certain amount to join us in this fight and be independent, because the same thing that we're going to be demanding from Republicans and Democrats will actually benefit them as well.
The independents are more
and libertarian is what we talked about last week.
Well, that's what libertarians fall into that independent more so than anybody. Christian. The libertarians are they're fiscally conservative, and they're socially more like left leaning, I guess you could say. They're like, hey, if like a lot of the far right, they're like, no homosexuality, no transgender, blah blah blah. Okay.
Hey, and then Christian,
Then you got the left. Then you have the left, which is socially, they're like, hey, they're all for that, right? And then you have the independents that are just like, hey, you can do whatever you want. You can live your life and do whatever you want in your bedroom. Whatever you want to do, it's your thing. But my money should be, they're more fiscally conservative. Generally, that's the way they are.
Which, if you think about it, it's like liberty on both ends. Socially, don't tell me how to be, and don't tell me how to run my business either. It's really just like money, right? just less control all around.
Is that what Republicans want too?
Most Republicans do want that. I mean, they're more. A lot of them. You have a lot of that are on the further right. They're more traditional values and stuff, and I fall in that line as well. Whatever people want to do in their life, I don't care. They can do what they want. I mean, I'm not here to judge anybody. I got my own set of problems and my own shortcomings, right? Mm-hmm. But when you start doing stuff like, I think what really gets it is your average typical, even far right. Well, I don't say far right, but kind of, like 70% to the right, I guess,
Yeah.
They're accepting of social issues. I mean, they'll accept it. They may not like it, right? But they're accepting of it. But once you start doing the stuff like you're allowing men to go in women's restrooms because they identify as a man and stuff, and the whole transgender issue, when we were kids, Donte, you didn't have people that were like, oh, I'm transgender, oh, I'm this, oh, I'm that. Like, you know what I'm saying? I mean, when you were a kid, I mean, you're a little younger than I am, but you didn't have this. But now that it's out there in your face, everybody's like, they're identifying as I don't know, whatever gender they are now. So, but they didn't do that before when we were kids.
I got a question on that because I think it's really interesting. So, look, which situation is scarier for you to imagine your like young child being in? You have a young daughter in Walmart going to use the restroom, right? And a person comes in who appears to be a woman to her. So she just, mentally registers that as a woman, but that person is a trans woman. So that person has whatever.
So it used to be a man.
Yeah, is currently a woman and is viewed as a woman and can be, unless they told you otherwise, you would assume was a woman, goes to use that restroom. Does that bother you more? Or does some guy coming in with a beard, a deep voice and all this, but because they started off as a woman, that's the restroom they're supposed to use? See, when people notice what he said, oh, now we got men wanting to use women's restrooms. Not the case. We got trans people wanting to use the restroom that represents what they are. Because if you really think about it, when I go to a men's restroom, everyone around there, I don't really know what their genitals are, to be honest. I don't know what they started off at, like, but just from the eye check, man, right?
Yeah.
Trans men pass that eye check too. I went to school with, so I'm not gonna say the name or whatever, but I used to remember like we would like all go out and she would be like, no, I ain't trying to go, whatever, like her little group of friends, like they would all go, she wouldn't want to go. Like one time she came out with this very, very uncomfortable, had on a dress and everything. I didn't catch on to what it was. One day they had a conversation with me and they were like, well, I'm a guy. And I was like, what? Like, you have a girl's name? What do you mean you're a guy? And I was like, you mean you're gay? Like you like women? They're like, I mean, I do like women, but that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying I'm a guy. I did not get that. That was like my freshman year of college. I come back junior year of college, right? And this person has transit. I mean, they got a beard and their voice is changing, and they've joined the weightlifting team, and now at this point has a girlfriend. Unless they told you I used to be a girl, you would never know. Has changed her name to a man's name. It operates like a man.
But does it operate?
Did that person? Well, the thing is, they're not going in the bathroom having sex. No. Like which one is scarier for you? Do you want that? Would you want what looks like a man for your daughter to be like in the bathroom because it used to be a woman and it's now a man? So you want them in the bathroom with your daughter, or do you want men who are like, yo, if I go in the men's bathroom, they might kick my ass. I look like a woman though, so I'm gonna be in here with the women.
Tell you what, I'd rather not have either one in the bathroom with my daughter. I mean, to be honest with you. I mean, and there's nothing wrong with that. That's just my personal opinion, My question is does it function, though? When they get all the surgery, I mean...
I would guess so.
What's really curious, Donte, is, that Playboy had a transgender playmate recently, right?
I didn't know.
Yeah, they did. I mean, from what I've read, and I'm like, man, I'm like morbidly curious, to see what the doctors were able to do,
You can Google.
I'm not gonna. No, I don't.
You don't want that.
He ain't as curious as he's saying.
I'm not that curious. No.
You can Google it and see.
Slightly less than morbidly curious. Just
Yeah. No, I'm just like, no, but like I said, man, I really wouldn't want any either way. But I mean, that's pretty much where I draw the line. When they, like all these, I mean, when it comes to that, I mean, you can do what you want with your life. But, but when it comes to like the whole, like dudes going into the restrooms and stuff, because you do have some guys, and I know what Christian is saying. Christian's saying like, hey, do you want a guy that comes in there with a beard saying, hey, I identify as a woman? And that's a lot of what's happening. You have guys that say, oh, I identify as a woman. There's no transition or no hormone therapy.
Why do we say that's a lot of what's happening? Is that like, have we run the numbers on that? That's a lot of what's happening. Bearded guys who are just like, I'm a woman today, about to go use the women's restroom, or honestly, I would think people who like, I would think it's more so people who are worried about who have gone the extra step to make that transition, being worried about like, am I safe in the bathroom I'm going into?
Yeah, I don't want to go in with either one, to be honest with you.
I mean,
where should they go? That's the other question. Where should they use the restroom? A lot of places have kind of converted to more of a.
There's family restrooms in most places.
Let me ask you this, because this is a joke that one of my friends, Robert Powell, has. Where have they been going to the bathroom before it became like a talking topic
in the spot that looks like what they claim to be?
Exactly.
And we didn't know any better. That's the thing. You can't genital check everybody in the bathroom.
Exactly.
You should. I'm nominating you, Donte. You go ahead.
Hey, well look, he said he's gonna make you president of that committee. I'm gonna make you president of the genital checking community.
No, that's what I'm saying. Is he's going to the genital checking community. No, he's gonna be the one like, okay, drop him.
No, you're never gonna know.
Yeah, I don't know if that's a penis or just a really,
Oh wow.
You never know. So they can go to any bathroom, whatever they look like. That's probably the bathroom they're gonna go to.
I mean, you're right, but like I said, I don't have to like it, and I don't agree. I mean, like it's just not something that I agree with. Is all. I mean, that's just my opinion on it.
So what would you like them to do then?
He would like them to not be trans.
Yeah,
makes it easier for
you can't do that. But what would you like them to do?
One of those Porta, the little things that they cup onto it and pee. No, I'm just kidding.
What would you like them to do? Seriously, I
don't know, man. I mean, I would really, to be honest with you, I mean, like I said, a lot of places have a family restroom where you go in, it's one stall, and you lock the door. I mean, if you're willing to do that, if it's your business, that's fine. Go ahead and do it.
So have family restaurants all over the country?
Restaurants?
I mean, family bathrooms. Have family bathrooms all over the country? So everywhere, fast food, everywhere you go, you have a family bathroom.
I don't know. Like I said, I really think that the trans thing is it's not. Like I said, I don't want to be. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'll go into the bathroom with a dude that says, "Hey, I'm gay." I'll stand in the stall next to him and use the bathroom. I don't have a problem, at least as long as you're not doing this right here, we're all right. I see those eyes creaking over. We're cool, Most people don't go to the bathroom to check out somebody else's junk. You know what I'm saying? But I just as far as like the way I was raised, I'm just not. It's not something that I really am cool and down with happening by any means.
So I'm saying, what is the solution then?
I don't know. I don't know what the solution is.
But I mean, you can't just say I don't like that and then y'all figure it out. I just don't like it. Y'all figure it out, but I don't like it.
I tell you what, maybe they should like if you men and women's restroom, you should go to the restroom. Here's what I would do actually. You go to the restroom, which was your biological sex. That's where you go. And if you want to go to if you want to go somewhere that has a family restroom,
what's that noise?
Oh.
I think going to the restroom of your biological sex could cause mayhem. Because here's the thing, man. Earlier, y'all were like, "Oh, when we were growing up, there were no trans people." Bullshit. When you were growing up, you didn't know there were trans people.
I'll put it this way: so the thing is,
you didn't know. You don't know. That's the. Yeah, I know, bro. You really big on checking genitals, bro. Hey, y'all. Hey, I gotta say, y'all be doing y'all's job, bro. You on your job, bro. But no, like you don't know. And I think trying to mandate something, it comes from, once again, let's talk about what's practical. That's my thing. We had that conversation the other day, right? It sounds nice to be like, well, go where whatever is biologically, whatever you were born with that's going to dictate the restroom you go into. Yeah, but then what you're going to end up with is a bunch of Sues and Sallys and Laurens that you thought were Sues and Sallys and Laurens are in the men's restroom. And then you got to even think, men are kind of gross too. Now you got women going to the bathroom with them. I'm not worried about the trans people. I mean, about the men, I'm worried about the trans people. So then the other thing you got is Freds, Davids, and Joes that you thought were Freds, Davids, and Joes that are popping up in the bathroom taking a squat next to your daughter comfortably because you think that whatever they were born as is what they should go with. I think whatever they are readily perceived as, whatever will cause the least amount of shock and for everybody else is where they should go. And I will bet that that's what they want too.
You're probably right. You're probably right. I mean, to be honest, if you can't tell, if they go in there and sit down and piss, you probably don't know the difference. But that don't mean I have to like it. All right. Remember that Eazy-E song back in the day? Lay down. Remember? Nobody move, nobody gets hurt. You remember that song, Donte?
Which one?
You probably don't, you youngster.
Yeah, which one?
Eazy-E is Nobody Move.
It's called Lay Down?
No, it's not called Lay Down. It's called Nobody Move. You go listen to it. Go look up the old school. I mean, like, not what you consider old school, like, like Tupac. I mean, like, really old school rap. And
Tupac is not old school for me. Sugar Hill Gang.
Yeah, before that.
Before Sugar Hill? I thought Sugar Hill was like the first rap group.
My rap chronology is, like, I'm talking about like NWA. Like, before NWA really popped out, Eazy-E had, a couple of albums on his own.
I thought it was Easy that came out first and then NWA, right?
Yeah, he was.
Yeah, I wasn't allowed to listen to
Are you for real?
Yeah, my mom
I wasn't either, but my mom didn't know.
My mom didn't know. I was listening to like Spice One. I was listening to
Spice Girls.
MC8. No, Spice One.
Oh, okay.
MC8. I'm a West Coast dude, so
Okay.
who else I was listening to and my mom didn't know? Spice One, MC8, DJ Quick. That's like when I first introduction to like rap music back then. Those are the guys who I listened to. So that was like early 90s. Early 90s.
Really?
While we're on like the old school rap kick, new rap. Just want to mention
because we talked about.
That's all he want to talk about is new rap.
Just want to.
He want to talk about this new rap.
Just want to mention Lil Uzi Vert finally dropped the Eternal Atake album that has with label issues and things like that he's been teasing for 2 years now. Finally dropped and it's selling like crazy. And I've taken a moment to listen to some of it. I think it's some of his best work. So I don't know if y'all listen to Lil Uzi. I know y'all talking about older rap. But for somebody who's like alive,
I have no idea.
Currently and still rapping, Eternal Atake by Lil Uzi Vert just dropped. Y'all should check that out.
Hey, you know what? When I was a kid, like the hush hush music, like out in the middle of Arkansas on the back of a throughline, these dirt roads, little redneck kid, right? It was in my Walkman, cassette tapes. I'm sure you've heard of these things, Christian.
Oh yeah,
cassette tapes, right?
Oh yeah.
I had Guns N' Roses. I had Eazy-E, Too Short. And Luke Skywalker and the 2 Live Crew. That was like staple. Yeah. I mean, I carried that around with me everywhere, like Hillary Clinton carries hot sauce,
So you didn't carry it around?
No, not hot sauce, but I carried those albums with me.
That's when I think that's when music was like on like cutting edge. You know what I mean? Like right now, I feel like majority of music is like samples. Or music that we've heard.
Talented, really.
Yeah, music that we heard before. Nobody is actually
doing their own thing.
Doing their own thing. It's like all the music. Like what's the name? Tory Lanez just came out with a whole album of songs or beats that we've already heard. And he just remixed the whole album, and that's his album.
Did Christian tell you what I did at work?
No.
Everybody was pissed off because I was playing like 80s music because it's like, kind of neutral. Like, man, you're playing the same thing on the Bluetooth. So I put on some Russian folk music, some polka.
Trash.
Yeah.
Of course it was.
Trash.
Of course it was.
You complain, that's what you're going to get up.
Exactly.
Yeah, I feel like nobody, like it's not any like new talent, you know what I mean? Like where they like really something talented that somebody else can't do, you know what I mean? Somebody else can't make this beat. It's like, All you got to do is
I disagree.
Sample it. Like who?
I disagree. Yo, let me ask y'all this. How much are y'all really listening to this new rap? Because what I find is people get caught up in the old music they listen to. They barely really start listening to what news comes out, and then they start making these grand statements about new stuff.
I'm saying like the stuff that I've heard, that I've listened to, from Tory Lanez, he has a whole album of 90s records that he's remixed.
So Tory Lanez did a 90s remix album, so now the whole generation
No,
is,
not
is
the whole
lacking.
generation. I mean, Meek Mill, he has samples. Kanye West, the biggest sampler. Like all these, I mean, I don't know who else. I don't really like we talked last time. I don't really know that many new.
Well, sampling's a staple part of how hip hop is made in general. Even with the older stuff,
nowadays.
you know what I mean. Well, no, not even nowadays. I mean, when you go back, even if you go
Luke
back to
Skywalker did it.
the Trigger Man beat, when you go back to like a lot of just like classic beats, even just from like the golden era in New York, you understand hip hop. It's the art of something from nothing. So like the way it even came about, like why do we call it break dancing or break beats? Because they took 70s grooves, and they would take that little break part in the middle and run it back as a loop, a sample, and then that will be what they rapped over, what they danced over, whatever, which is why we say break dancer, all this stuff. So to say like, oh no, like why are these guys using samples and not doing anything else new, is to completely ignore the essence of what hip hop is. And then I would go as far as saying like, yo, if you're really listening to hip hop, come on, man, it's moving and it's changing and it's always becoming new. So either people are complaining about it's not being new, or they're saying this shit they're doing is not even hip hop anymore. You can't have it both ways. Did y'all listen to number one hip hop album in the country?
Roddy Ricch.
Roddy Ricch. Did y'all listen to it?
I haven't listened to it yet, and then, to be honest with you, I mean, I'm gonna have to take like a strong effort to go listen to it. I'm really gonna have to like plan it, put it on my calendar.
I'll tell you this is generationally, Donte is a little younger than I am, so he's like talking about old school, like early '90s rap stuff like that. And I'm a few years older than that. So, like to me, when I look at stuff like Mixolog's like, oh yeah, Baby Got Back. No, I'm talking about Swass, Posse's on Broadway, all this old stuff. That was good stuff. But what happens is as you get older and you grow out of you grow away from that, okay? But you still remember what you listened to when you were young. Mm-hmm. Christian, someday you're going to listen to music and go, man, this stuff sucks. When you get older, you will. You'll be like, man, this sucks. Trust me, you will.
I think no. Look, I had a moment actually with all the new hip hop coming out. I think it was around the time Migos started, Young Thug, like a lot of these artists where I didn't resonate with it. Because I was always a bars guy. I grew up on, like we talked about the other day, Eminem, I'm saying Wayne, Nelly, guys who were actually rapping, 50, So I didn't get it. But somebody told me this one time, and it made everything make sense for me. Like Glenn, you listen to rock, so they say, yo,
sometimes.
Van Halen, right? If you listen to Van Halen, they were significantly better musicians than Nirvana. You know what I'm saying? Like Kurt Cobain can't play a guitar solo the way Eddie Van Halen can. But you don't listen. You don't listen to Kurt Cobain to be like, are you as good of a guitarist as Eddie Van Halen? You listen to him because of the vibes he brings, the energy that he brings. Whether or not he's an exceptional guitarist, you like the energy. Van Halen could not have wrote "Smells Like Teen Spirit" because they would have been too focused on how good we can play our guitars and our drums and how good we could look with our hair, right? So you take that same thing, like
that is true.
Comparison is the stealer of joy. If every time you listen to a hip hop artist, you're going, well, do you sound like Biggie? Do you sound like Pac? Do you sound like Jay-Z? Well, then you're pigeonholing the entire genre. Some guys these days, you're not listening to them for bars. You're listening to them for their melodic decisions. You're listening to them for their flow decisions, or their MCs. You're listening to them for their ability to get a rise out of you. Like, I can't believe you're willing to say that. Or what you gotta be willing to listen in a different way. And the genre is moving, and I'm saying there's R&B influences, and there's UK influences, and island influences, and rock influences happening now in hip hop. I think a lot of older people can't listen to it because they're looking for that guitar solo from Eddie Van Halen, so they can't just enjoy the chorus that's coming out of Nirvana. Once again, if that makes sense for anybody who listens to rock, you got to let it be what it is, enjoy it for what it is.
Yeah, I mean, I never listened to rock. Like, I don't know not one rock and roll song. The only time I listen to
Very
rock,
diverse of you, Donte.
Yeah, I'm sorry. The only way I listen to any kind of rock and roll is if I'm shopping at H&M. That's the only time I listen to rock and roll, or if I hear any kind of rock. I just.
Well, did you get the metaphor? I guess the overall thing is this. If every time you listen to a new artist, you're trying to compare them to something that's already been done, then you're really ruining it for you and for them.
No, I get that.
You know,
yeah.
Could Tupac have written "Bad and Bougie" by Migos? Fuck no, and it was a good song. It was a great song.
I don't think he would have wrote "Bad and Bougie."
He wouldn't have wrote "Bad and Bougie," but somebody had to write "Bad and Bougie."
Tupac would have bitch slapped him for that song, probably.
Yeah, if somebody would have brought that to him, like, Pac, I want "Bad and Bougie."
I tell you what, man. I look at the award show sometimes, and I see these artists stand up and these dudes with the braids in their hair, and I'm looking at them. They're like, some of them, look a little, not very masculine. I'll put it that way.
Flamboyant.
And they're like, and I'm like, what happened to rap?
Yeah.
I mean, like, for real.
Yeah.
Like, used to us about being hard. Now these dudes are up there like, that little like braids hanging down their face, and I'm like, no, that's not.
I think Atlanta happened to rap, bro. On G, like Atlanta has a huge like the LGBTQ community, so much so that it even influences like the straight community. Like the straight dudes would be like, I like women, but yo, bro, those jeans you got kind of fly. Those are kind of fresh. like you, out of Atlanta, you got that's what the whole fads were like. Yo, I'm gonna go cop a Goyard purse, not for my bitch, for myself. Like that's Atlanta. So,
Donte.
So that's.
Come in Monday.
Did y'all see that
purse.
video with the basketball players talking about how they'll go to women fashion shows and see something that they like, and then they'll go get their designer
Like panties?
I don't know. Like, he was like, he'll go to a women fashion show. He'll see something like, oh, that's fresh. Hey, my designer, make me an outfit something similar to what they got.
Prince did it.
Prince is a whole different subject. Yeah. He's on a whole different atmosphere. You know what I'm saying?
Speaking of that, I've already talked to you about it, but Christian, you may not know.
Whoa.
You know the whole Parents Music Resource Center, the parental advisory sticker?
Yeah.
You know what that was from?
Prince?
Yeah, it was from the Purple, and it wasn't even really like he didn't use any foul language or anything in the song. It was from Darling Nikki on the Purple Rain soundtrack. You know what that song is?
Sing it for me real fast.
Not with my kid in the room. Anyhow, because she's sitting right over there. I'll put it this way: he discusses an act that she's doing in a hotel lobby. Okay.
Bet.
And what happened was Al Gore's wife, Tipper Gore, came in and heard his daughter, because back then you didn't have stickers on the album. They didn't tell you if it had bad stuff in it. And all of a sudden you hear, I knew a girl named Nikki. I guess you could say she was a sex fiend. I saw her in a hotel lobby, and then it describes what she's doing. She's like, what is that you're listening to? She says, oh, it's Prince album. It's Purple Rain. And so she started the Parents Music Resource Center. And they created that label that says Parental Advisory Explicit Lyrics to warn parents. So basically all you did was make those albums more desirable. Like Luke Campbell said, thank you, Tipper Gore. You just made me $10 million.
Yeah, so I thought it was Luke. Luke didn't...
it was Prince.
It was Prince?
It was Prince. It's legend. The back and forth that the Parents Music Resource Center had with Tipper Gore and Luke Campbell was what you heard about the most, but the way it started was with Darling Nikki. I mean, they went back and forth. Like I said, Luke Campbell even said in one of his albums, "Thank you, Tipper Gore. You just made me $10 million more or something like that," in one of the songs.
Really?
Yeah.
Shout out to Prince, man. Shout out to Prince.
Hey,
yeah, he was my favorite.
Yeah, shout out to Prince.
As you noticed from me playing on the Bluetooth at work.
Yeah, my first time even seeing Prince was on what was the movie? Was it Purple Rain?
There was Graffiti Bridge and the Cherry Moon too as well.
Was Graffiti Bridge was with Tevin Campbell, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, so it was Graffiti Bridge. That was the first time me seeing Prince. And then I liked Tevin Campbell when I was a kid. That sounds so funny for me saying now. I liked Tevin Campbell when I was a kid.
You need to do that genital check when he goes in the bathroom, Christian.
I liked Tevin Campbell. Tevin Campbell was bad. He was hard for me as a kid. Tevin was the man.
I remember.
And so ever since when they had when that little scene in the movie with Tevin Campbell, I think there was like in an alley or something, and he started singing in the alley.
I remember.
I was like, yo, Tevin is the man. That's when I was like, he's hard, and that's when I started getting into Prince.
That's like kind of my daughter. You know, she used to be when she was little. She liked Demi Lovato because of the Frozen song, and now she's like, she's at 13. She's done with that already.
Yeah.
So we won't hold it against you, Donte.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it.
No problem.
But I know right now the big conversation online is like bringing R&B back.
Mm-hmm.
That's like a big conversation online where people are saying R&B is dead and everybody not making R&B songs no more.
That's pretty much true.
I miss Trey Songz. I miss Usher. I miss some other like dope R&B artists that I like.
Tank.
I can take them. I could take Tank or leave them. You know what I mean? Tyrese, take them or leave them.
Who was it? The lady that, forget who she was, but she was had a bunch of albums, really good. Had the reality show.
Who? She was on the reality show.
Hold on, I'll look it up.
It's not K Michelle, was it?
No, but I'm talking about.
Tequila.
No,
yeah, it is. You see my face is red. You see my face is red from drinking this tequila for real.
Yeah. I miss like even
Tony Braxton.
Tony Braxton. Oh, okay. Yeah, I miss Tony. I like Tony Braxton.
Mm-hmm.
Who else? Even Keisha Cole. Who else are some other R&B artists that I'm like, man, I wish they would drop an album.
Alicia Keys.
Yeah.
Yeah,
She was
Alicia.
good. She's gone off the rails lately. She's got that whole I'm not wearing makeup thing going on, and it's not a good look.
I heard a story about
She's still what? Not a good look. Hey,
I
bro.
mean, I'm just, if you see
I heard Alicia
Keys
got
with
some
makeup?
big fat ass ankles. Like she's skinny.
cankles.
Yes, I heard.
Cankles on a skinny
She
chick.
got
That's weird.
some big ass ankles.
I don't know, man. That's weird.
Hey, if Swiss Beats ever got tired of her
I
not
heard
wearing
she got
makeup,
some
bro,
big-
he could send her to Texas.
I heard she got some big ankles.
She's a little bit too old for you, Christian, I think.
Nah,
Alicia Keys.
Yeah.
got that.
Alicia Keys is how old are you?
He's young.
Something. Yeah. Alicia Keys is probably like 35, 37, something like that.
I've
right?
dated women older than that.
Yeah.
Have you?
Yeah,
There you go.
How old? What was the age difference?
the oldest woman I've ever been with.
Yeah.
She was 50. I was 25.
Damn.
it was her birthday.
Talk about that.
It
Her
was her
birthday.
birthday.
Yeah, let's get into this.
Yeah.
Y'all
Talk
wanna get into
about
her
birthday?
that.
Okay. So it's a
Yeah.
birthday
Talk
present?
about that.
It's a birthday present? Yeah, I want to hear this.
Yeah, bro.
Give us
I don't
the
know.
nitty-gritty
I was
details.
I don't
50.
know, bro. At that time of my life, you know what I'm saying? I was just on
You was trying to get your stimulus package.
was a how?
young man type stuff.
Trying to get a
Yeah,
stimulus
but hey,
package.
she was
So
bro.
what?
She was cute. She was fine. I'm saying she was very
woman?
good looking. She was good looking. Period. You
Black
know what I'm
woman?
saying? Yeah.
Yeah,
She's good
they
looking,
don't crack.
period.
It's
You said
okay.
what?
A black woman?
Oh, yeah,
He said,
yeah.
I said, they don't crack.
And
so
it was
you
her,
can't
you know what I'm
tell.
saying? It was her birthday. You know what I'm saying? I was at the same restaurant. We kind of flirted back and forth because I was near her table. And then towards the end or whatever, she, like left me a number. Whoop. She paid for my food.
Whoa, see, that's the
sugar
50
mama.
Yeah, that's
There
the
we go.
50-year-old woman right
so
there.
she was being
Sugar mama.
She made her interest very well known. I knew it was her birthday. I was like, okay, cool. We could celebrate. I actually popped up at her crib, you know what I'm saying, with a bottle and
Bet you
everything like
did.
that. Saying treated her right for her birthday, and then like her we had music playing. And we get like a knock on the door. So first off, I'm like, oh, she got a man. She got a whole man. I'm about to die in here. I just moved to Texas. But nah, bro. Like she was hitting me like, I pay the bills in this house. You don't check me. You need to go to sleep. Blah blah blah, bro. I ended up having
This
to
is
go.
hold on. Talking about slow down. Slow the fuck down.
All
Okay. So you're in the house.
I'm in her house.
You in the house. You hear a knock at the door.
At her, not the front door, the bedroom door.
Oh, somebody's in the house.
In the home, knocking on the door.
Okay, so and then y'all are in the bedroom, and then she gets up and answers the door, and says, "You didn't tell me."
Because the knocking won't stop. Yeah, because the knocking won't stop. She gets up and like addresses what's going on at the door, and she's like, blah 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 blah.
You're lucky to
Like,
be
you
here,
don't
Christian.
you don't tell me what goes on in my house. I pay these bills. Blah blah blah. You need to go your ass to sleep. So I'm wondering like who this is outside the door, but I catch on, but just between like how she's talking to him that this must be her son.
Oh, yeah.
So then I'm like, okay, you know what? He's kind of like talking, yelling back to her, whatever. I'm like, I'm a
Mama,
man.
quit
So
being a hoe.
let me go handle this. So I literally like, bro, no shirt on, in my boxers, no cap,
Go to the door.
no cap. I open up the door hard. I'm saying with some some energy. Like, hey, excuse me, man. Like, dude, like 6'2", looking down. I mean, like, hey, bro, look, your mom's trying to have a good time. I'm coming out. I'm hanging out with your mom. She just asked respectfully if you could chill out. Whatever you need to talk to her about, I'm sure that she doesn't mind talking to you later. But right now, like, what are you doing? You know, can you relax for a second? You gonna have your time to talk to your mom later, bro. I told this dude that, and he must have been like 22. He was just like, all right, man.
Oh, hell no.
Hey, bro, literally could have kicked my ass. He was bigger than me, bro. I just had to put that. I'm saying that dominance on him real fast. He knew what it was, and I'm
shut down.
Yeah, go ahead.
Like I just had to put that bass in my voice, and I'm saying show him some dominance. And really, he was bigger than me. And I know he was thinking in his head, like, what the hell? Because, bro, I look a lot younger than I am. Yeah. So at that age, he must have been thinking, like, oh, what the heck? You know,
Mama
but
was molesting somebody.
I think the shock of seeing, like, me come there and address him was enough to make him just, like, he was, you know, throwing. Man. He chilled until I left.
It'd been funny if that dude would have whipped your ass right there in front of his mama. That would have been hilarious.
Hey, that would have been, bro. Hey, honestly, one day somebody gonna kick my ass. I have not had my ass beat by nobody but Ron and Shalita since '92. Those are my parents. And '92 is when I was born. It's okay. One day. I'm too. I don't get in fights anymore. I'm like, you know, I'm too old for that shit.
Yeah.
But
I'm the same.
I've just luckily, I don't know why, bro.
Do you still keep in contact with the lady?
Actually, so I left my speaker over there. I brought a speaker over there to, like, set the mood. I was playing Weekend and shit. And I left, and after,
you know this is gonna be on YouTube, right, Christian?
It's whatever.
Okay, all right.
It's whatever. It's whatever. It'll be more entertaining. And you know what's gonna end up happening? All the 50-year-old shorties gonna be like, oh, okay, like, what's up? I got him. You know, so true story, you know. It's a true story. But anyways, man, I left my speaker there, and she started, like, sending me, like, oh, babe, good time last night, like, oh, you know, so I want to see you again. And it was just like, I could tell that it was for her probably more meaningful than it was for me.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, shit, you know, I really would like to go get my speaker. It's an expensive speaker, but I'm gonna have to deal with her again, man. I lost the whole speaker over this situation. I said, fuck that speaker.
That's what you get. That's what happens, man. That's what you get, dude.
But I don't condone this, bro. Once again, that was at that particular
Broke
age.
this
At that
old
particular
lady.
I bet your
time.
son probably threw your speaker outside.
He probably did, bro.
He used those speakers. He probably stole them.
She probably like, baby, you want a speaker?
Mm-hmm.
You want no speaker?
Yeah, you might have got that, but I got your speakers.
But all that to say, now let's bring it back. All that to say, if anybody got a problem with Alicia not wearing makeup, I got that. I got that.
I'm just saying that.
Let's tie it back in.
I've just seen interviews with her, and not just the makeup. She just has some crazy stuff. That's all. Go watch her on YouTube. Go look up some of the videos and stuff. I used to love her. You know,
in my younger days.
Speaking of that, Prince, that song "Why Don't You Call Me Anymore," he wrote that for her.
For who? Alicia Keys?
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Why don't you call me anymore?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's dope. In my younger days, I used to have infatuation with older women too. I dated 2 older women. Like, I was I had a whole family at 25 years old, and I think her son was like 17 or something like that. She adopted her brother and sister, and he was like 16. Her sister was like 13. Like, I had a whole family at 25 years old, something like that. It was like
God.
I assumed the responsibility. Like, yeah, I'm the man of the house. I'm taking charge. Like, everybody would like kind of like listen to me. Like, if I had something to say, only person who I didn't ever really go to was her son. Me and him was like close in age. You know what I mean? I think I had to be like 27. He was like 21, 22, something like that. He's the only one that, like, I didn't really say nothing to. But everybody else, I was like, hey, man, y'all didn't take out the trash around here. We need to clean up this Saturday morning. Like, I was taking charge. And then
reminds me of a scene out of Don't Be a Menace to South Central. Something like that.
Shout out to her. I ain't gonna say her name, but shout out to her. Man, it was crazy. But that's what actually grew me up as a man, though. You know what I mean? Having to see the responsibilities or what it actually took to be a grown man, like, that grew me up. You know what I mean? That and another relationship, like, actually made me come to, like, okay, this shit ain't all just fun and games. You know what I mean? You gotta handle responsibility.
You have any kids now, Donte?
I got 3.
That's right.
One on the way.
All right.
Yep. I got 3 kids. 2 twins. I mean, not 2 twins. A pair of twins.
Right.
And my stepson.
Okay.
Yep. 3 of them.
That's good. Good
Yeah,
for you,
man. So, yeah, shout out to her, though, man. That shit was wild. I remember everybody used to say, everybody had comment about it. Like, I remember this other old lady, man, this was like.
Old lady.
This was living.
Now, if he gets with an older woman, it's like you got to get her up out of her wheelchair.
No, I'm married. Me and my wife is. I'm married.
Just saying,
so.
if they ever came to that situation and you're like she's old now, you old.
Yeah, I know.
Now when you say somebody's old, you're talking like getting them up out of their wheelchair.
Yeah,
and stuff.
yeah, no. It was this one lady. Boy, she used to take so good. She used to take care of me, boy. This was
Sugar mama.
Man, I'm talking about. But the only thing I didn't like about her is when she take me around her friends, or she'll be like, "Yeah, girl, yeah, look at you got a young one." I didn't like that shit because I felt like a really like a piece of meat.
Yeah, bro.
At that point,
you were, bro.
Yeah, I didn't like how she was
trophy boyfriend.
Yeah, I didn't like. I didn't like that.
Donte, how did you handle it?
It was my ego,
Did
man.
she give you an allowance?
Yeah, she did.
Did she give you an allowance?
She gave me $2,000 a month.
Did she make you call her daddy?
Wow.
No. She gave me $2,000 a
Make
month.
you call her daddy?
Yeah.
You're talking about transgender bathrooms again. Had a slip up there. It's all right. Make you call her daddy.
No, she didn't. You try to catch me or something with this?
No, man.
But yeah, no, it was. Those were back in the days, man. Those were back in the days. That was my, instead of taking advantage of the government, that was my stimulus package. You know what I mean?
No pun intended. Right?
Yeah, it's my stimulus package. But yeah, those were the days, man. Those were the days back in the early 2000s. Yeah, it's my stimulus package.
So you don't need reparations. You got your sugar mama.
Now I'm married now, so now I'm the person who's you know what I mean,
gotcha.
taking care of stuff now. You know what I mean? But if it wasn't for those old women or those women at that time, who know where I would be, man? I would probably be out in the street wilding, doing crazy stuff.
No, you wouldn't. You're smarter than that. Well, I don't know. I mean, you
Hey, man, listen, I had to grow up. You know what I mean?
Hey, bro, Glenn is so good at like calmly throwing shade.
Yeah, he is.
I'm glad you caught that.
Like, remember earlier when I was trying to set Glenn up, I had a whole reaction like I'm looking at him. I'm like, you know it's coming. I'm about to kamehameha you, right? Glenn just slipping in like.
Yeah. So you know that. Yeah.
You know. No.
Yo, man, I appreciate y'all for coming through, man. This has been fun, man. Glenn, do you do social media?
No.
Are you on social media?
No.
Okay, so you don't have
other than Facebook, and I don't want people going there.
Okay, good. All right, cool.
Follow at no social media Glenn.com.
Yeah, that's me.
No social media.
You can at me.
Oh, okay.
I'm gonna make a Twitter shit Glenn says and just start tweeting things I hear him say. Y'all can follow that.
There you go.
Yeah, give me
That's
like a
cool.
couple of days to make it.
Oh, okay.
You could do that. I mean, you sit like right down the. I mean,
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
something I said the other day. You turned around and started laughing. I don't remember
I
what
stayed,
it was.
bro. Like you're wild. You're wild. You
I'll sit over there laughing.
and like wow.
You know, I said, "Hey man, why'd you beat up Jesse Smollett for real?" He's like, "What are you talking about?" Like,
What are you talking about?
What are you talking about? You know, he's like, and I told him he didn't know. And he's
Nobody else is gonna get that though.
Yeah,
No,
but he's-
nobody don't know. Nobody else is gonna get. They're gonna be like, what? They're gonna
like,
like,
he
what?
was like, but like, no, don't compare me to them. Those guys are trash. He's a good guy. He's a good guy.
Yeah. Yo, man, I appreciate y'all for coming through, man. Appreciate y'all for tapping in with me, man. I really do. This is the matrix of a podcast. You know what I mean? When you tap in, you never know what you're gonna get.
Yeah, no, we were supposed to talk about
Yeah,
politics, and we talked about rap and
Yeah.
transgender bathrooms.
You never know what you're gonna get, man. So I
is a
appreciate
short
y'all
one.
for coming through, man. Thank y'all for clicking on the video. Make sure y'all like and subscribe on YouTube. Yeah, and just every Tuesday, this is where we at. This is the Tap In Podcast.